At the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, the Black Summer bushfires moved across Australia, burning over 46 million acres and displacing thousands of people. These were some of the most severe fires the country has ever seen. The bravery of our firefighters during the Black Summer bushfires was so significant that in 2020, the Royal Australian Mint released the Australia's Firefighters Coins, donating $125,000 towards fire and emergency service organisations.
I'm honoured to be part of that commemorative coin and the recognition that of firefighters that, and not just the firefighters, but the national significance of the commemorative coin. But it also reflects on firefighters of the last century and I would say the next generations. I was involved with the Black Summer bushfires through 4 major incidents. The first deployment was a 7-day task force to Port Macquarie.
I was in the first team to go into Nerriga, and I remember driving in there and just thinking to myself, when I could see the really big black cloud of smoke forming, why are we driving into this? And it's one of the few times I've ever felt that sort of emotion.
The first strike team the night before got hit pretty hard by the firestorm that went through.
After that, I deployed to Adaminaby, and then after spending a fair bit of time in that area, including the Kosciuszko National Park, so effectively from Tumut and Talbingo on one side to Adaminaby, right across the park, I was in the Aurora fires when they started.
Aurora Valley, I just remember the choking smoke that Canberra was in that whole summer, and it was just so hot and dry.
And the fact that all the fire brigades really could do was steer and help direct the fire, protect individual properties and so on.
It was intense, but so was 2003 and 2009. But for me, I think it was the extent of active fire grounds down the east coast of Australia there, and the duration of the season that made it exceptionally different to any other fire season I've been involved in.
We went back to the Aurora Valley in February of 2025. We spoke to Nadia from ACT Parks and Conservation and saw how the park has changed 5 years on from the Black Summer bushfires.
Today we're in the Aurora Valley in Namadgi National Park, and it's in close proximity to where the fire was accidentally ignited in 2020. So I was involved as a firefighter from the ACT, so part of my fire role, as well as being on the ground, is doing aviation specialist roles, so air observing, intelligence gathering and having a look at things, as well as air attack supervising, so organising the aircraft that fight the fire. And then just a lot of smoke haze for days, and so it was really hard to see, really hard to breathe. But we got through it. It was pretty devastating. And even further down the valley, even now you can see it's still really bare. It burnt about 88,000 hectares, the Aurora Valley fire itself, which is huge. I think that's about 80% of the Namadgi National Park and 20% of Tidbinbilla Nature Reserve. So, and when you think of, Namadgi National Park is sort of half the size of the whole ACT, and when nearly all of that burnt, it's a huge area. And so many different ecological communities affected. So not just the vegetation, but then the wildlife that lives there and needs to survive there. The aquatic species as well, they're affected by the runoff into the creeks and into our waterways. So a whole range of effects that need to be counteracted. I think it was important to commemorate it, to memorialise it, dedicate it to the hard work of the firefighters, volunteers, the rangers and ecologists, and to everything that was lost as well, all the rural community, all the cultural assets, and to our Ngunnawal people, the cultural custodians of the land. Really important to acknowledge that that something devastating happened to the environment, and that we're all here now to work towards fixing it.
Although the Black Summer bushfires affected Australia culturally and environmentally, this event made Australians unite and support one another. Seeing the impact across the nation, the Royal Australian Mint knew that we had to act.
So we're talking about the 2020 $2 aluminium bronze coloured uncirculated coin, which was commemorating Australian firefighters. I was the product development officer, or I was the product developer, I should say, who worked on this program. So my responsibility was to bring together the idea of why and how we were going to commemorate this theme on a coin, or this story on a coin. We had released in 2019 a coin commemorating police remembrance to coincide with Police Remembrance Day. And that was the end of 2019. We all then went on holidays, and then we all came back and the world had changed. Very rarely we all come home from, or come back to work after the Christmas break. Yeah, how was your Christmas break? You know, what did you get up to? Everyone knew what they got up to. We were all, glued to the television or fighting fires or, dealing with what we had to deal with. So we saw that as an opportunity and really as a call to action. So we were able to, normally a coin would be developed over 18 months, usually sort of pitched around 12 months out and then sort of released 12 months later. And a 10-month turnaround is literally unheard of. It was something that really everyone just, put on their running shoes and we got out there. So Alex Stockick and I worked on the design, and I think from the beginning we sort of pretty much knew we were going to look for that heroic element. One of the constants through all of the horrific things that happened was the heroic actions of the firefighters. There was a huge amount of debate and discussions with the subject specialists, the AFAC, about the hoses, the type of hoses that would be used, and the way that they were held, making sure that we had at least enough gender notes in there that people could see themselves. So that sort of came together really, really well, and it was Alex's idea of the ball of fire. We have to have a circular colour print. We can't orientate it, so it has to be something that can just appear any orientation as the colour print, and it was her idea to use the flames as that component that we can't control.
A lot of people say that we're brave, but we're really just doing what we do. It's not something that we set out to race into a fire. We're trained, we've got good resources behind us that support us, and that makes a huge difference. I know I started in firefighting because I heard a fire siren wailing through the night and not stopping, and I thought there's a need for some support and some help. But through it, I found mateship, camaraderie, skills and training. So I don't consider it to be something about bravery, but rather just something you mentioned before, the Aussie spirit, about helping somebody else.